God, it's a look at the time. It's time to do another maintenance video. What's up, everybody? Hope you guys are having a great weekend. And today I've got my Gottlieb airport. This is a 1969 Gottlieb airport, just as I said. And I went through it it's probably been about 2 years or so. I slid it off from the wall and, you know, I had to do a couple little repairs on it. Had a few bugs. But I figured, well, it's out. You know what? It's been about 2 years. I'm just going to do a quick clean and rubber change on it. Not that it necessarily needs it or anything like that. It's probably about time, and then since I drug it out, I'm going to do it anyway. And I figure it's a chance to show you what needs to be done. Now, this isn't going to be very extensive, as right now there's really nothing wrong with the game other than the usual. I still have to pull it all back apart. When I got it, it sat in a place that makes they silk screening. They print T-shirts and all that other stuff. It's a lot of humidity and not the best environment to have a pinball machine in. But so when I got it, the cabinet is pretty worn. A lot of flaking and painting on the paint. And got a little chip out of the back box here. So my plan was to get it going mechanically because it barely worked, and then I would go back and do the cosmetics. But me having bad ADD, other projects lined up. Right now I have at least 4 things pulled apart. I don't have the hyper part of the ADD. I don't have ADHD, but I do have ADD-S. So that's attention deficit disorder. Squirrel. Haha. But anyway, yeah, the back glass on this is pretty much cash. I try not to move it around too much. I will be getting a repro for it. I wonder what the noise was. You got the mascot over here rolling around on the carpet. But there's really nothing wrong. I do have a couple flickering light bulbs that I'm going to show you how to do just a quick fix on those. I'm not going to go through all of them, but just the... Damn it. See? If you've seen any of my videos, especially the Gottliebs, if you want the lights on the playfield, you have to start a game. And I forget about that, and it gets me every damn time. But anyway, wait for my heart to slow down here a second. Basically, we're just going to do a quick clean and wax of the playfield. I am going to end up taking a lot of the plastics off because I'm going to change the rubbers. And we're going to solder up those, do the fix on the flickering light sockets. We'll clean them out too, just while we're here. But other than that, you know, it will get a new ball. Just because we're in here, we're doing this. It helps me keep track. I'm not going to dig into the inside too much. I will have to pick up the playfield for the lamp socket repair. I do have my extra light up here, so hopefully you don't get too much reflection. But I didn't feel like dragging this over to my work area, even though I have a dolly. Maybe it's just being lazy. and I have a rolling toolbox that is buried in the Aladdin's Castle and Captain Fantastic projects. So I just took some tools that I need. So what did I grab? For this, I know I'm gonna have cleaning the playfield. I got some alcohol, but I actually prefer naphtha. I do have some Novus 2. This isn't a super dirty playfield because I've already gone through it. You know, this is just strictly maintenance, so I don't have to use a magic eraser and all that other stuff. This is just do a quick clean plus rubber. You know, maybe I'll spray the plastic down. Might as well, I'm already here. I have some wax. I like this stuff. The Meguiar's Carnauba. I do believe the Plus has a cleaner in it, which wasn't necessarily wanting that, but I do prefer the paste wax instead of the liquid, because some people don't know how to control their goo, and it gets all in all the cracks and drops down and interrupts switches and everything. So I prefer to be able to control what I'm doing. I will use the liquid once in a while, but sparingly. I got some glass cleaner because when we're done we're going to wipe the glass down. I have a solder, because that's how I'm going to fix the flickering lights. Knock it off. I got my old worn out file that I use for cleaning switches. I'm not going to go through and dig through all the switches, anything like that. I'm just going to get the ones that I can get from the top, basically behind the slingshots, and these little whatever you want, just rebound switches, you know, the little guys. I do have a switch adjuster, a couple of them, just in case. Sometimes I tend to work on things and I create different problems. What else do I have here? Screwdriver, another light, my nut drivers, my microfiber cloths. I got a Dremel, the knockoff anyway, Harbor Freight, with this is a 443. Yeah, 443 Dremel bit. This is the carbon fiber brush. This is great for cleaning switches. It's especially great for cleaning inside light sockets. I got a little flux pen for when we do our light sockets. 5/16 to take the nuts off the top here. And Pinball Resource. Well, Pinball Resource basically sell you most of the stuff. This is a little pal nut tool. This is a post that goes down and screws into the playfield, and underneath the plastic, sometimes you're turning these nuts. Most of them, they shouldn't be very tight, but sometimes when you turn it, the whole post wants to come out, so you use this little, it's just a simple thin version of I believe a 5/16 wrench, but it just holds it where you pop these caps off. No biggie, you don't need it. I saw it on the website, thought, hey, I'll try it. I like it. And I get my rubbers in bulk. This is my EM box, which I mostly do. All the different sizes. Yeah, it swings open. I got more stuff down there. Got rebounds, your plunger tips. But anyway, yeah, if you need a set of rubbers, you just have one game or maybe two. You can order from Pinball Resource or any of the companies. Just tell them what game you have, and they'll put together a package for you. But it's always good to have extras, because sometimes when they're counting so many, there might be something that's missized. You know, maybe you got thrown in their bin or they missed one. So nothing sucks more than having to wait for one little piece. So get some extras. They're only a couple cents. And of course, we have a new ball. Why? Because I don't like to put dirty balls in my games. What's the point of cleaning it if I'm going to rub my dirty balls all over it? Yeah! See what I did there? So let me sit you up on the tripod. I'm going to start taking the plastics off and show you what we're going to do here. Alright, we're going to take all the plastics off the playfield, just so we can access the light bulbs, the light bulb sockets, and a lot of the plastics need to come off to change the rubbers. So let's get started. I've shut the power off. And Gottlieb's for the if the playfield is lit up, it's from starting a game. You know, you can finish the game and you won't have all the power down here other than your lighting, but the playfield will stay lit. I'm not going to go through all that. I've got some upset people out there because in one of my videos I had a warning to shut the power off. Not necessarily a warning, but just a know-it-all. That a lot of times you see me do this with the lights on and everything else. That's just because it looks better, it lights up better for the camera. Yes, I suggest turning the game off, and this person went so far as, in all caps, that, oh, you're gonna cause somebody to have an accident or something, you should always unplug the game, blah 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 blah. Yeah, okay. Well, if you don't understand water and electricity and don't touch things that can shock you, don't, all that other stuff, I'm not going to go and put all the disclosures in. I'm not saying take off all warning labels, because I don't have all day and I can't talk like an auctioneer to explain all the warnings. But by at least removing some of the labels, I think the problem will sort itself out. So don't do this if you don't feel confident in it. I have confidence in you. I might have more confidence in yourself than more confidence in you than you do in yourself. So this is a simple task. Playfield's actually not all that dirty, so I don't have to go and scrub and deep clean anything like that. So we're just going to do a quick maintenance routine because the game is already open and out, and it's been a couple of years. How often you have to do yours is going to depend on whatever factors. Is it on location? Is it dry rotting? Is it super dirty? Do you have a dustier environment? Hopefully you don't. But this one doesn't get played as much, so it's probably fine. I could probably even just clean the rubbers off on this, but that's part of having the ADD. I'm in here, I might as well do it. So let's get started. I will forward through this for the most part, and if I have something important to say, then maybe I'll stop to slow it back down to normal speed. Let's do it. I'm using the naphtha because it works, it dries fast. I think it cleans better than alcohol. Now for all these supposed disclaimers and stuff like that, I'm just scrubbing away at this thing and still kind of laughing in my head about the comments. Like, this is what I do, this is what I use. So far it's worked. I'm not saying it's the right way or the only way, anything like that. Technically I'm waiting for a comment that's going to say, how come you didn't, you're leaving this set on your play field and it's flammable and this and that, and another reason why you should unplug your game. So yeah, go ahead and unplug it. But you know, should I knock this thing over? Because remember, your game is slanted, it's even more possible. You knock this over, drop it in there, you get an arc, you get a nice fire explosion. Yeah, I guess that could happen too. But I look at it this way. Then I get to post you another video of why you shouldn't do that stuff. I didn't think I'd have to post a pinball safety video, but I'm trying to show you guys the just how to keep these old things going. Should I be wearing a respirator or some kind of mask because of fumes, all that, and have open ventilation? And it to me, it makes it a little more interesting, because you know, when you're high, everything's funny. I'm just kidding. I'm not. Well, it is funny, but no, I'm not high. I'm not sitting there sucking up a ton of fumes or anything like that. But all your safety or OSHA, anything that you would think would apply to it, this stuff will dry out your hands. So you might want to put on some gloves. If you're super sensitive to any types of chemicals or alcohols, it's eating the oils off your hands, so it's going to dry them up real quick. So read about it, read your containers. I'm not licensed to do any of this, I just know how to do it. So whatever works for you, dudettes, fellow monkeys, go ahead and do it, man. Okay, this is what I do. If you want to follow me, then feel free, but I am not taking responsibility for what anybody else does. So let's continue on. We've almost got this at least cleaned up. I'm wiping it down, you know, getting off any extra dirt. There's some deep ball swirls, especially in the lighter paint area here, this blue, but I've tried to scrub those out in the past. It's as good as it's going to get. So I'll do a quick clean, and then we're going to access the light bulbs. You know, technically I probably should have done that first, because sometimes you get the dust on there. So I'll clean it, do the light bulbs, give it another quick wipe down of any dust that might have gotten from the bulb sockets, which you don't have to do. I'm just I'm already here, so I'm just going to show you. And then we'll throw some wax and rubbers on it. Let's keep going. Okay, as we've got it cleaned up for right now, wiped down with naphtha, it's dry. That's the nice thing about that, it dries really fast. What we're going to do is we're going to turn the game on. We have to start a game so my playfield gets lit up. I've shut my little service light off here so you can get a better look. The game is on, start it. Okay, so help me look around for flickering bulbs, bad bulbs. I do have my Dremel with the 443 wire brush on it ready, And I'm not going to do all of these because all the sockets have been cleaned. But if it's got a bad connection, you've got a couple options. You can leave it alone and let it flicker. That annoys the shit out of me. You can replace the lamp socket. I've seen people take a drop of 3-in-1 oil and put it in. There's little insulators in the bottom of the socket that these games are 50, 60, 80 years old. And in theory, that's supposed to swell up the piece of, let's just for shits and giggles, we'll call it cardboard, swells that back up and tightens that connection again. Because the tail for the connector on there is loose and spinning around. So see how that touch that? It's just a bad connection. The socket isn't bad, it's just old. The sockets themselves are probably, I don't know what they are now, $2 a piece. You got to make sure you got the right size, or at least the right depth, because there are a few different depths on these sockets. But that's one we're going to do. I'm just going to leave the bulb hanging out there. I'm going to touch all these bulbs just to see if it changes. That one maybe. Alright, you know what we're going to do? And you could tell sometimes because you'll try and unscrew the bulb and the whole socket wants to spin. I'm going to do those. No. This guy. I'm not trying to make a day out of this. I'm trying to make it, hour and a half max. Okay, I'm gonna bring this up. These are regular 47s, 44s or 47s. I have to look. I usually try and do 47s only because they take less power and it's less heat on the plastics. The old what they used to use mostly is 44s, which do take more power, but they are brighter by quite a bit, which means they are hotter. But if it's just a home game, you only have it on once in a while, or maybe it's just you down there playing. If you're not running in an arcade where it's on all the time, it doesn't really matter. So brings me to my second point. If you decide to switch over to LEDs, I know sacrilege on an EM game for a lot of people. If you're going to do that, it's an LED. It's a LED, light emitting diode. It's a diode. These are AC, alternating current. Current is flowing back and forth constantly, and it has an element that is the resistor. Okay, it's that resistance that's causing it to light up. A diode works differently, so it has to switch it from that AC signal to DC. I do recommend I prefer the frosted warm white bulbs. I particularly like, I prefer Comet because I've heard good things about them, and so far on anything that's all I've used. But you also want to get what's called non-ghosting, because the LEDs work different. This has a current going back and forth through it 60 times a second. Why? Because here in the States, that's how fast our alternating current alternates. 60 times a second. You don't see it. It looks like one solid piece. The diode works different. If they're non-ghosting, you do have a tendency to, when bumpers and other features are going off, you'll see little flickers, and you're going to think it's a bad light socket. Okay, it's not necessarily. It could be just the diode being super sensitive to all the other fluctuations in voltage. So you want the non-ghosting bulbs if you're going to do an LED conversion. And then you get to hear about it from everybody all on the EM groups. So anyway, for right now, what we're going to do is I'm going to finish touching these. I'm leaving the incandescents in here. Damn, every time. Damn it. It makes me lose my train of thought too. I'm leaving incandescents. There's nothing wrong with them. These are brand new bulbs, or at least they were brand new 2 years ago. But where I've got the bulbs sticking out, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to shut this off. I'm going to clean the lamp socket real quick with the wire wheel, just because we're in there. And when it comes time to do the socket repair, I'll show you that only on these particular bulbs, because I don't feel like redoing this whole game. Cool? Cool. I heard you. So let's get this done.
Yeah.
Alright, let's clean these sockets out. Lamp sockets, light sockets, same thing. I know I kind of use it interchangeable. Take that out, take that out. Got my brush. Have this on a lower speed. Let's see if I even tighten this in the chuck first. Okay, I did. Just making sure. That's not hard. Is that all I had? Yeah, I know there's just a few, but they were driving me nuts. Turn it back on just to make sure. Okay. Okay. You know what? Turn this back off. See how it's still got that flicker. And it'll probably be fine until I put all the plastics back on and go to play a game. Then it's going to piss me off because it's just flickering. It's a pet peeve. So we're going to do all these repairs as a little quick fix anyway, whether it needs it or not. But I'll swap the rubbers out real quick. You'll get to see that. And we'll pick the playfield up, because I have to do that in order to fix these sockets. Alright, let's do it. Okay. One thing you notice, I didn't set this up for cleaning the sockets for the pop bumpers. These actually have LEDs in them. But I haven't had any problems with these. So if you comment, that's why I haven't had any problems. Of course, now that I said it, I've just created problems, so I'll be ready for that. So when you're taking these off, if you go ahead and get the set of them, the set of rubbers from, I usually just get them from Pinball Resource, because Steve's a good guy. I like doing business with them. But somewhere on here you'll see, you might have to put glasses on if you're older like me, just to see the numbers. You'll see the numbers of what size rings they are. If you get the set of them, it's pretty easy to figure out what goes where. You can look online for rubber charts, because, you know, granted, these games are old. People put whatever they have or whatever fits for the time. So I usually get them set up on the side anyway, and swap them off from there. These are still pretty good, but as you saw, I have a whole box of new ones, so I'm not worried about these too much. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna shut this off again before I swap the rubbers out. I'm just gonna clean these few switch contacts that are up here, and we'll get these rubbers off. Okay, this is still flexible. It's not dry rotting so much. It's a 1.5 inch ring. Usually, if you can see the name, these are Wicco rubbers. Directly across from it, if you have a hard time looking, if you find one, you can find the other. It says 1.5 inches right there. If you're using the chart, keep in mind that they used to measure them, I believe they used to measure them by outside diameter, then they switched to the inside. So if you're going strictly off of that chart, they may match up, they may not. But whatever works for you. You don't want it so tight that everything's constantly on the switch, and you don't want to have to, you know, play a banjo when you touch it. You just want some flexibility. Is there a difference between white and black rubbers? Absolutely. The white ones, I'd say I put on all EMs. They have more bounce to them. Black are a little bit more dead. So, but on newer games or even solid state games, things are faster paced, everything else. There's a lot more action on the newer games. Don't really recommend these for the newer games. But as I say this stuff, I sit here, my head is working faster than my mouth. So sometimes my sentences get delayed, or I'm trying to think of different solutions or possibilities, but so far, all my EM games use the white rubbers, not the black. I haven't done the silicone. I'm thinking about trying them out on the Aladdin's Castle, but you'll have to watch for that video to see if we actually do it. We'll see what happens. But what I was getting at with this rubber is, see how they're all round. If you pull one off of here and say I'm looking for a triangle shape slingshot rubber, it's only that shape because it's getting old and crusty. This is more of an oval. Let's see if this one holds that shape. No, but it's starting to. It's getting a little point on it. So these actually aren't that bad. See how it's starting to gain the shape of whatever position that it was in. I've taken them off where it's one solid chunk. There's no flex at all. In fact, when you touch it, it just shatters. And you could tell exactly where they went. That was the nice part. So, alright, let me get these off, get them matched up, and we'll keep going. This rebound rubber is actually perfect still. If you get a set of them, they're gonna give you the rebound rubber anyway. Otherwise, these are about $2 a piece. But this one's still in perfect shape, so I'm gonna clean it off, wipe it. I literally just rub it real quick, and it's fine. You know what? No, I'm gonna change it. I want to change it, just educational purposes. Okay, we're just gonna put a new one on. I don't want to teach you bad habits, but if you want to get one, put it on. If not, it's okay. And lastly, don't forget your flippers. See, the sharper the edge, and the Gottlieb and Williams have very sharp angles, whether it's just the standard round rubbers or you know, the 3-inch flippers. Is the big fat ones, but they have a sharper point on the front, so it tends to point these out, and it's more stress on that rubber. So we're going to change it. So just 1 inch. Now, on these flippers, there's one groove. Sometimes you'll see pictures, or maybe your own game. Sometimes they have one rubber on there, sometimes they have 2. And I believe these flipper bats, these for Gottlieb's, they only have the one groove. So if I put a 1-inch rubber on there, put that on like that. Now let's see if when I say 2, I mean they're stacked. You got more rubber touching the plastic. Let me just see how this looks. I've never done it on here, but on here, because of the groove, to me that lower one sticks out a little bit more, which I believe the way that it hits might put a different trajectory on your ball in a way that's going to make it go upward. I'm just going to go with what I know and keep the original on there, just the 1 inch, and be done with it. So we're putting these on first. See, normally if I was doing more work on the play field, I wax the whole thing, and then I put all the rubbers back on, which, you know, maybe I'll still do it that way. You know, you don't have to get in every little crack and corner with the wax, because the ball's not going to go there. So now that I have I just put together my own rubber kit, okay? A new kit is, roughly anywhere from about $15 to $25, depending on how many rubbers your game has on it. They're not expensive, and you can buy them individually. I suggest, like I said, getting a few extra, just so you have some spares. But these games, for the most part, the old EMs, it's mostly cheap maintenance. So don't be afraid to maintain your game. And also, you can't see it on the camera here, and I don't want to move it, is the plunger tip. But I will change that when we pick up the play field. Okay, what I'm looking at right now is the reflection of the light, just to see if there's any major spots that I missed as far as cleaning. And after I wax it, I'm going to do the same thing and look for any residual wax, because once that, even if it's dried on there, once that ball goes and picks that wax up, it's going to attract any dirt, and it turns the ball into a big, think of it like a big chunk of sandpaper. And every time it hits something, every time it's bouncing off, it's scuffing that play field. So you don't want that. Alright, got that all cleaned up. I told you I'd do a quick wipe because of cleaning out the lamp sockets. If you guys never played an airport or any of the few that were out there with these called Very targets. See, there's 1 notch, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, they don't pop back right away. That's a whole other coil, but essentially the harder you hit it with the ball, the more points you score. So it's 10 to 50. Or if these lights are lit, it's you can get up to 500 points. It takes quite a bit though to get just the right angle with these little 2-inch flippers. But you might be amazed at what I can do with 2 inches. So when we're done, we'll play a quick game on this, or 2. You know how it works. If you've been watching my videos, I a lot of times say one thing and do something else. So, okay. Now let's put some wax on this. Love the smell of this. Love the smell of this and Mother's metal polish. Not like Brasso or something like that. It's got a big heavy ammonia smell. So the pad, I'm not squirting it on because it's a paste wax. That's why I like it. Especially in the areas the ball is going to be bouncing back and forth. I don't worry about the out lanes so much because it's just a roll, and it's usually a lot slower roll. Okay, we're in kind of a danger zone under here, because you just got to make sure you get it all cleaned up. I say danger zone because especially with liquid wax, it drops down in the holes. It's sometimes harder to clean out from around the pop bumpers because you don't see it as well. I really should have done a before and after play video. But the first time I put this together and waxed it real good, there's a sweet spot right here. If you have good rubbers and it's nice and waxed, between these two rebounds here, bing, 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 and the this yellow pop bumper, it'll sit there and it'll just keep going if it gets in there just right, and it's pretty cool. Okay, there's my first coat. I'm going to let that dry. I'll give you time to answer, but do you want to watch the wax dry?
Boring!
Well, then pause the screen and you can watch it, but it's the same as watching paint dry. It's pretty boring. I'm gonna let this dry, show you how I wipe it off, and then I'm gonna put a second coat on. Same thing, you don't need to see a second coat, it's the same as the first. Second verse, the same as the first. And then we'll slap this thing back together. Alright, let's get this wiped off. I don't think you can see it on camera, but if you've never waxed anything, you know it's dry when you get a real cloudy film. So just do it in sections, take your time. You don't have to bear down and scrub on it, not for waxing. Just give it a little puff. It's fine just by hand. You don't need to, get your big buffer or anything on there. Just hand wax is just fine. I've mentioned in my other videos, watch out for these switches and the nails, these screws. They will cut you, they will draw blood, and it hurts like a bitch. I have it in some of my videos where it's caught me. Okay, I'm gonna put a second coat on. I'm gonna spare you the having to watch me go through that again. That's the magic of video. We'll put these rubbers back on, okay? Let's start slapping rubbers. Start putting these on. One thing I want to point out about the wiping down the wax and everything else. Shouldn't have to say it, but if you're using the microfiber cloths or any cloth, use a whole different one than what you did your naphtha or your alcohol with. You don't want to use the same one, it's going to defeat the purpose. That alcohol or naphtha is going to take that right back off there for you. You can experiment with different size rubbers if you want to try, putting a size smaller or something like that. It's going to give it even more bounce. You may have to do some switch adjustments, and just know that's more stress though on that rubber. It is tighter, so you may end up having to replace them sooner, but it also may give it even more bounce than what hopefully it'll give you what you're looking for. good wax. See that slide away from me? Look at that. Yeah, buddy. Okay, we've stripped down the play field. We've cleaned it down with some naphtha, just a quick wipe, re-wax, 2 coats. I got to wax off and put new rubbers on it. We cleaned the light sockets. Now we're going to repair those flickering ones. I'm not changing the sockets. I'm just going to show you what happens here. So this is one of the 4 that we have to do. I'm not going to do all of them. But this connector here, what I was talking about earlier with that the bushing, there's essentially a cardboard or bakelite insulator inside the socket, and there's a spring, and you've got the body of the socket, and this is your terminal that would put power basically to the bottom of the spring that's touching the bottom of the lamp. So 2 terminals. Well, this one gets loose over time, and this being a little bit older than me, it's all dried up. So what we're going to do is we're going to clean off this base, which is essentially making contact with this. We're going to clean that up. We're just going to move this wire that would normally go, it's going to the same place. We're just giving it a more solid contact and eliminating the chance for movement. We're just going straight to the base, right here. So we're going to do that on 4 of them. I'll show you how to do that on 1. I'll do the rest. We'll put this thing down, put the plastics back on, and play it. So let me get the soldering iron set up. First, we're going to take our Dremel, the same brush that we had on there before. All I'm going to do is clean this up. I don't know if you saw a little puff of dust. It's just a little bit of corrosion. Clean that up. While I'm here, I'll find the other 3. Here's one. You don't see this part because I zoomed in on just the 1. One down here. Just enough to get that corrosion off. Okay. I get the soldering iron set up. We'll get it done. Okay, we're gonna get this socket soldered up. Make note that, I've got the camera zoomed in a lot. I'm gonna do my best to stay out of the shot, but it's not gonna be easy. keep in mind I'm working upside down. This is the bottom of the play field, so gravity is working against me. If you're gonna do it like this, I do suggest putting a towel. I happen to have a moving blanket handy. I just lay it across the cabinet or down in the bottom of the cabinet. That way, if you do get solder globs or you drop something, it's not dropping down into places you can't see, shorting out switches and relays and stuff like that. If you watched my videos on Space Mission, that's the type of crap that happens. So we got the terminal cleaned up. Let me see if, seeing that's loose, maybe I can bring it around so it's out of the way. This black wire gonna be in the way too, huh? Okay. So I will back out for a minute here. Soldering iron. You don't need for EM repair, EM, electromechanical, you don't need a fancy $100 temperature controlled setup, anything like that. You can use it, it just, you have to bring the base over, there's so much more. This is just a cheap Weller, it's probably 15 bucks. It's just a small wattage, I want to say it might be like 15 watts. I could be wrong on that too, but it's just a cheapie. Weller's probably the best known brands out there for soldering irons. You don't need a soldering gun, you don't need a whole lot of power. But this also isn't delicate enough that I'm not going to really trust it to board work. I want something with more control, and that's why I have a soldering station in the other room. But don't go wasting your money on a bunch of stuff you don't need. I've got a flux pen that I usually use on boards. Yep, see that dump out of there? Some type of flux, I'm just going to put it on that base. This one's just a liquid. Acts like it's like a marker. Give that a second to dry. You saw my soldering spool earlier. I just cut off a length of it so it's easier to work with, because again, I'm upside down. I'm not, but I'm working again on the bottom of the play field. I'm not going to hang from the ceiling to work on these things. It might be fun though. I also have a pair of small needle nose pliers, because sometimes when you're heating this, it does get hot and that heat will travel back on the wire. Sometimes it's easier to hold it. I'm going to do my best to let you see this. Tin my iron. Okay, let me zoom in. All right. Definitely harder to try and work upside down, but you need the flux helps the solder stick. So we got a bead on there. Okay. So now I can desolder my wire that I'm going to move. And this is actually two of them twisted together. That hot solder splash finds my arm every time. Okay. I give it a few seconds. I give it a little tug. It's not going anywhere. You know, that's a dadism. Let me smack on it here real quick. That's not going anywhere. But now we've eliminated that that loose point by just going directly to the source. So that's one of the 4 that I'm going to do. I'll do the other 3 for you, and we'll drop this back down and finish this up. All right, everybody, we've got the lamp sockets hopefully repaired here. Got them all soldered up. I guess we're going to find out. Let's put the bulbs in. I'm ready to start a game basically to get this to light up. Come on. Aha, see? I tried. 2, 3. 4. Okay. So, no more flickering yet. Hopefully we won't find more when we put this together, but if we do, you know what to do. Okay, we're going to put these plastics back on. We got our new ball. We're going to take the old one. It's not awful, but it's going in the drawer of old balls. Why do I keep them? I don't know, but when somebody wants to tailgate you on the freeway and you have a sunroof, they make a decent deterrent. I'm not telling you what to do, but they work for me. So don't ride my tailgate. Okay, let's put these plastics back on here. It's the opposite of the way that we took them off. And we'll play a couple games. Alright, let's play a quick game of Airport. Let me see if I can, I got the Christmas lights up top, but it's there. Okay, so a little less reflection on the glass now. Hopefully you can, well, you could see it. Hold on. Alright. It's easier to put the camera this way instead of trying to play behind it. I'm sorry it's sideways. But I'm not going to do a full gameplay tutorial because I want to do a cosmetic restoration on this. And then I want to go over the whole game with you. But as of right now, I'm going to see how it plays. See if we get flickering bulbs. Let's try it. Okay, for those of you that are fairly new to electromechanical pinballs, Airport is a 2-player game. These pop bumpers say 10 points when lit, 10 when lit, 100 when lit, and another 10 when lit. How do you light those? Just give it time. Being a 2-player game, or any multiplayer, they didn't have memory, any way of knowing. So the way this works is the pop bumpers will light up. You get progressive features no matter how well you do. If you can see the top rollover targets, you've got one on the first ball that lit up here. Now we're on second ball. You get the two of them. The features will change as the game goes on, but there's nothing you can do about it. And as far as 10 times value with these are vary targets. I think that alternates with the 10-point coil. And see, that was good. Okay, so now the upper rollover's moved. Of course, I won't hit it. Jesus Christ. Okay, so we're on ball 4. Now you've got the out lanes that are lit with 300 instead of 50, and you have all 3 10-pointers lit. The top rollovers move to the outside. Not doing good. Okay, this last ball. Point should be lighting. Ah, there it is. See? I was so worried about my other targets not lighting up as they're supposed to. But now I've got to put it in ball 5 to test my socket for my 100s. We'll speed it up here. Some of these get where they can basically flick by themselves for a little while. It's bouncing good. I mean, it's not fast by today's standards, but what this game was just before we put it together, you know, before we redid it, it's a lot faster now. That's ball 4. Ball 5. Yeah. When I was playing with it, I twisted that. Makes a difference. These are the only LEDs I have in the game. They're just standard Comet frosted, non-ghosting LEDs. I just want to see what they look like in the pops, and I kind of like them. I might do my permanent LED fix on those when I pull this apart again. We'll see. I don't know. So for right now, let's start over. Pay attention to the how the features start moving around on every ball. Let's start over. Definitely not level either. I've got the front half on a carpet and the back is on concrete with one slider pad under it. So So once I get it back in place, I'll level it again. We're on ball 3. See that? This thing zips around if you get going. Okay, ball 4, got the 3 10-pointers and the out lanes. Much better. Let me try and get the very targets. Last ball, all 5 pops are lit up. We even have 300 on the 2 outside lanes. $3,590. If we got another 410 points, I'd get a credit. But okay, you saw how to tear this down, replace rubbers just in a maintenance. Might as well do it when you're in here. Clean it, wax it. We put a new ball in it. What's the sense of putting an old ball on new wax? We even did the light bulb fix, and I don't see any flickering. I'm happy with that. So appreciate you guys for watching. I love making these videos for you. You know, if you can, please consider subscribing. Somewhere down the line it will help me out. And hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you on the next one. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.